Recycling. Hey, I'm Kristen, and think of me as your average consumer. I'm not perfect. I still buy things in plastic because there are so many good vegan options on the market that come in plastic, and I just can't say no. Sorry. I'm just very tempted. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. Recycling. I think a lot of people don't know how to properly recycle. So every recycling program is different. So what my parents can recycle is different from what your aunt and uncle can recycle across the country. Everywhere is going to be different, but I am gonna give you some tips on the proper ways to recycle and some things you can't recycle that most people think you can. So let's get into it. Now, of course, you know I try to live more sustainably, and recycling is not the solution to our waste problem. So what are the main materials you can recycle? We have paper, we have plastic, we have aluminum and metals, and we have glass. I'd say those are the main materials that we can recycle in most facilities. Plastic. Now, it depends on where you live and what your recycling program is for plastic. Now, typically, numbers 1 and 2 plastic are always recyclable for the most part. Now, like in my parents' area, you can recycle number 1 through number 7 plastic recycling, which is awesome because there's lots of different plastic recycling that you can recycle. But I know some areas you can only recycle number 1 and number 2 plastics. So keep that in mind. There are some plastic cutlery that has a recycling symbol on it. However, most of the time, things that are that small don't get recycled because it kind of messes up the machines and it gets dangerous and da-da-da. So I would try to just avoid plastic cutlery altogether if you can. I know there is some compostable plastic as well, but it's not going to compost in the world unless it has an industrial compost facility where you can compost that compostable plastic. So I think compostable plastic is kind of greenwashing, but that's a whole other side of things. So also, when you are recycling your plastic, a lot of the times your plastic caps on top of plastic bottles are not recyclable. Now, at my parents' house, I just checked on their website, they do accept the recycling caps. They want it screwed on when you recycle all of your plastic bottles. But a lot of the time, recycling facilities don't accept your little bottled caps. So, as you can tell from this video, you really need to check in your own recycling facility, check their website, see what they do. So my 3 favorite materials that are in packaging for my packaged foods that I still buy are aluminum, glass, and paper. So I love aluminum because it is infinitely recyclable, including your aluminum foil. So what I recommend for that, make sure you kind of save a ball of aluminum and keep kind of building on that, because the bigger it is, the easier it is for the facility to recycle it. If it's a tiny little piece of aluminum, sometimes they might not be able to recycle it. So just keep that in mind with everything. The little things are harder to recycle, so make it easier on your recycling facility. And then the second thing I like is glass. Now, glass does take a lot of energy to recycle. However, it is very, very easily recyclable, and like aluminum, you can always keep recycling it. And I personally keep all of my glass jars so I can reuse them. But of course, if you have like soda bottles or beer bottles or something like that, that can be recycled. Cardboard and paper can also be recycled easily. I try to reduce my paper because we're trying not to cut down trees, but it's another thing that is also compostable if you can't recycle it. So there is that option as well with paper. So sometimes I buy paper boxes filled with pasta or something along those lines. Also, if you get like pasta like this and it comes with this plastic sleeve, make sure to rip out the plastic sleeve, throw that away, and then recycle the paper box. This little plastic sleeve is not recyclable most of the time. This little plastic see-through covering thing, so you have to rip that out. Shredded paper. Let's talk about shredded paper. Some recycling facilities will accept shredded paper. I think most of the time they want it in a bag, like a paper bag, and they want it labeled and sealed, while a lot of facilities don't take shredded paper because, again, like those small items, it is very hard to sort through, filter, and recycle because it is so tiny. So keep that in mind as well. But newspapers, magazines, paper boxes, cardboard, all of that can be recycled, of course. Just make sure to break down your boxes when you put them in your recycling bins for the curbside recycling, so gotta break those boxes down. Now, cartons are also something that most of the time is recycled, but sometimes it isn't. So if you have your milk non-dairy cartons or your normal milk cartons or Tetra packs with like coconut water and juice boxes and stuff like that, check your local recycling. Sometimes they'll recycle it, sometimes they won't. It just depends. Some recycling centers do take styrofoam. Do I ever recommend you getting something in styrofoam? Heck no, it can't biodegrade. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I went out to eat on Monday night and I forgot to bring a container. And they gave me styrofoam to take my leftovers home, and I just had a little freak out moment in my brain and I didn't know what to do, but I took it and I put my food in it, and now I have that styrofoam. So I'm staying accountable, I'm telling the truth, I'm letting you guys know I'm not perfect, but if you can avoid styrofoam, please avoid styrofoam because it is not good. But some recycling facilities do accept styrofoam. We all love getting pizza to go, right? We have our pizza box, we have friends over, we're watching football, or we're playing board games, or I don't know what you do, you're having a party. You cannot recycle cardboard pizza boxes when pizza has been in them. You can't recycle anything that has been food soiled, meaning the pizza boxes have oil and grease and cheese or whatever the heck you eat on it, hopefully vegan cheese. You also can't recycle any plastic that has food in it. You have to clean your plastic and your glass and your aluminum cans and anything you're recycling. You cannot have food in it. If you have food in it, it's contaminated, they can't recycle it. So unfortunately, you can't recycle shattered glass. Say your friend knocked over your soda glass bottle or your beer bottle or whatever. You can't recycle that. You can't recycle your drinking glasses. You can't recycle window glass. Plastic bags are not recyclable, I'd say 99.99% of the time at your curbside recycling. You see that it has a little recycling symbol at the bottom of your plastic bag. That does not always mean that whatever recycling facility in your area, that does not mean that they accept all recycling. Now, I know there are grocery stores that do take those plastic bags back and they can recycle them, but it's hard. It is very, very hard to recycle that really thin, flimsy plastic. And that's why it's so important to be using reusable bags so you don't really have to worry about that, because out of convenience and what's easy for the consumer, consumers are not gonna go out of their way most of the time to recycle those bags. So try to avoid them at all costs if you can. Also, you can't recycle light bulbs. You can't recycle electronic waste. Things like that, you have to physically take to certain drop-off centers and they can sort it out there. But again, 99.999999% of the time, you cannot put it in your curbside recycling. Also, you can't recycle the paper cups that are lined with plastic, which you probably don't know that they're lined with plastic, but it's like to-go coffee cups, hot coffee cups. You can't recycle those. And you can't recycle ice cream cartons either, because those are also lined with plastic, and you'd have to physically separate the plastic lining from the paper to recycle it. So that's a little heads up as well. Can't recycle those. If you don't recycle properly and there is contaminated stuff in that truck that picks up your recycling, the whole truck might go to the landfill. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Comment down below if you already knew most of these things, and if you didn't know something from this video, comment down below and let me know what it is. And if you haven't subscribed, it would mean so much to me if you would hit that subscribe button down below. And until next time, bye! And shout out to my brother who gave me this video idea.